Good afternoon. I'm Inspector Mike Bosley with the Investigative Operations Section. And just to follow up on the original information provided by Alert, one of the things that we do as police organizations is we work very collaboratively with one another. It's an important piece of the work that we do across the province as well as in the city. So, regardless of the type of offenses that are being investigated, if we need to work together, we can do that. One of the things that I wanted to get out today was, and I think it came out in the news release, was that, over a period of just one weekend, and I've come speak to the media about this before, and over the period of just one weekend, we had 47 vehicles stolen. 18 of those vehicles were stolen with the keys in the ignition. And now we see specific examples of where those kind of situations can end up. And in some of the news release that we've just talked about, in one of those incidents we had 2 young children in a vehicle. It only takes a moment in time before something like this can occur to you. And I think a lot of people feel that, I'll just be out of the car for a second or whatever the case may be. It can happen that quickly. Typically what we're seeing is these individuals in another stolen vehicle. They're driving around, sometimes alone, sometimes not, with other people in a stolen car. They're driving around and they pull right up to that vehicle that's running and they immediately get into it. So it only takes a matter of seconds for that to happen. And I think I just want to reiterate that message that I've come to before the media on before, and that is, please, if you have your vehicle, never leave your car running with the keys in it. Always be with your vehicle at any time where you have the vehicle running. So that's just one example. Another example we had over this last little while was an incident involving a situation that 4 of our police officers ended up getting injured. 3 of them had to go to the hospital to be looked at as a result of a takedown that was done on a stolen vehicle. Again, a very dangerous situation for our officers to be involved in. This individual took very aggressive steps to get away and attempted to assault our officers during that incident. And I've spoke to you before about the drug-related issues that are associated to this type of crime. Typically, we are seeing, like the drugs we see here today, involved with these types of offenses. So we're dealing with people who are high in some cases, sometimes not, but in a lot of cases we're dealing with drug-addicted issues as well during these incidents. And and then most recently we just had another incident involving an individual that brought one of these stolen vehicles. I mean, they can be used as a commodity. And you brought one of these stolen vehicles to a business to try and sell a piece of that vehicle, the motor from the vehicle. And once that company became somewhat suspicious, they realized that it was a stolen vehicle. In that time, from the initial drop-off of the vehicle, that offender ended up getting arrested on another incident, and obviously didn't return to get the payment for the property that was left with the company until after he was released from jail. Once he was released from jail, within 12 hours, he's back at that company attempting to get the funding, and ultimately has shown up at that property with another stolen vehicle. So within 12 hours of that release. And I've talked to the media before and the public about the issues that we're seeing with recidivism. This is a huge issue for us. This is enforcement. And ultimately what we're seeing is these people continue to get back out of jail. We're not seeing the treatment in place that they need in order to get the help they need to get away from those drug addictions and those problems, and or being held in custody so that they don't become the danger that they are to the public. We've seen this happen. I was just here last week showing a video of a HAWCS video that the public saw, and they saw the problems and the dangers that are created. And I talked to you about, can you imagine being in that vehicle, having that vehicle come towards you, the type of driving that occurs and how dangerous that is. It puts us all at risk. So, I think really, we really need to get together as a society and as a community to try and address this issue. This is obviously the police are playing a major role, but we need help from our partnerships and we need help from the public so that we can help address this issue.
As you mentioned, the video came out not too long ago. I mean, it was very, very powerful. I mean, you got a huge response. And as you mentioned, this past weekend, 18 of those incidents with the keys left inside. I mean, is it frustration at this point? Is it you just don't understand why people are still doing it? I mean, what's it like from your perspective when you do a lot of this kind of public outreach, public campaigning, but obviously it's still a big issue. Giving the keys inside.
Yeah, it is a big issue. It absolutely is a big issue. And it is something that we need to continue to work towards. And I've said before, it is frustrating for police. You know, when we see these people continue to come in and out of the system and either not get the help they need or be held in custody. It is a big issue. It puts us all at risk. And it's an important piece of our work is to keep the community safe.
Can you give us some context here that you said 47 thefts over the weekend? Is that typical? Is that a spike? Is that why we're here today? Also because it was such an anomalous weekend?
Actually, not that much of an anomaly. We're seeing huge numbers daily of stolen vehicles that are typically stolen with the keys in them. So that number is not alarming at all as far as what we're seeing with a trend. There's about a 52% increase in the number of stolen vehicles that we've had in Calgary just over the last little while. So the numbers are large. We're seeing 20 plus vehicles stolen daily in our city.
I realize it's been an ongoing problem and it's cyclic in some senses, but this latest problem, when did you start noticing this?
We started seeing an increase in the number of stolen vehicles. I think it was around 2015. We started to see an increase, and then certainly saw a big spike in 2016. The numbers, but I can get you more specific stats that come from our statistical area to give you the exact numbers. But there has been a constant increase in the number of stolen vehicles associated to what we're also seeing is an increase in house break-and enters and so forth, which, like we've talked about before, is an acquisitive type crime that's associated. I think we've started to see a decrease now, which is really good, a downward trend in the number of house break-and enters, but the easy accessibility of these stolen vehicles with keys in them just make them so easy for offenders to get a hold of.
Like, I realize it's complex, there's facets to this, but why do you think this latest problem with stolen vehicles, why are we seeing this?
Well, we're seeing it attached and associated to other property-related crimes. So what we did see is we saw a spike in our methamphetamine seizures, heroin, fentanyl, drug-related issues, all those drug-related issues, and ultimately property crime going up because those types of crimes are used to fuel the funding for drug-related addictions and crime.
So are you seeing that in the majority of cases here, these are just kind of opportunities, or are we seeing sophisticated rings at play here, or are these just people that you're saying that are addicted and they see a vehicle and they just grab it, whether it's running or whether they can get in?
Ultimately, you're seeing the vast majority are crimes of opportunity, but we are also, seeing also connections to organized crime and more sophisticated groups conducting these types of offenses. So it does cross all of those boundaries. We do see it, involved in different forms of crime, but certainly a large number of the crime that we're seeing is individuals that have easy access to stolen vehicles so that they can utilize them for the purposes of transportation to commit other crimes.
Mike, just to go back to leaving the keys inside, can you speak at all to when investigators are, they get on scene and they speak to someone who had their car stolen, and they was one of these people who, they parked their car and they ran inside to do something and boom, it was gone. I mean, can you speak at all to, are they just not getting the message that they really shouldn't do it, or they don't think it's going to happen to them, or I was just running inside? I mean, can you speak at all to the mentality, I guess, about why people are still, even if it's just for a second, leaving their cars running, and sometimes with either children or even animals?
Yeah, I think there is a perspective that people feel that obviously they're safe and that it is something that isn't going to happen to me, and it ends up happening so quickly, and ultimately they become victimized, and then afterward, they're surprised and shocked by it. And we keep trying to send the message that to please help us by, if you have to warm up your car, if if at any time you're not with your vehicle, never leave it running. Buy a car starter, do what you have to do. But this impact of this easy accessibility to this type of vehicle thefts is creating a lot of problems for all of us in our community and our safety.
Is this also a sign of security tech in vehicles? I mean, it used to be that Grand Caravans, for example, were easy to rip off, right? And we saw a trend of that maybe 8 years ago. Is that what we're seeing right now, that security tech has gotten so good that really they're focusing more on running vehicles simply because they can't break into a lot of cars like they do?
They are more sophisticated as far as the security mechanisms that are in place with motor vehicles today, and absolutely you're seeing a trend towards the easier accessibility of vehicles that are running or vehicles with keys. And I mentioned to you before as well, some of the other trends we were seeing was unlock garage doors. You know, people sometimes will leave their keys in their vehicle in their garage. That kind of thing. So there's that type of theft as well. We're seeing insecure cars. So they're not in the car's not running, there's potentially even no keys in the car. But what the offenders will do in some cases is they'll access your garage door opener that's left in the vehicle and ultimately open your garage door. And sometimes people have a second vehicle in their garage, and it can be stolen that way. I believe we saw a garage-related theft that we're talking about here today associated to this file with the stolen vehicle. So that is another pattern of behavior that we're seeing. So it's important to obviously secure your garage doors, make sure your cars are locked. When we do investigations on some of these offenders, sometimes we see them conduct numerous checks of door handles on cars to look for open vehicles. So, you know, they'll be in your community. Look for this type of suspicious activity in your neighborhood. You see people walking down the street and they're checking door handles or something on vehicles. It's a common pattern. That's the type of thing. Easy access into a vehicle. They can get access to now sometimes your house key that's in your car, your garage door opener, those kind of things. So it's important to secure your vehicles as well, even when they're not running with the keys in them.
You can start shifting resources, heat teams again or something like that?
We have, as you can see, with Alert and our partnerships, as well as a number of resources through the investigative operations section, created and dedicated a lot of resources towards dealing with this issue from an acquisitive crime perspective, including the house break and enters. Because what we're seeing is the people that are breaking into houses, the people that are stealing cars, all of these types of offenses are intertwined. They're associated to the same offender. So really what now the trick is to be more focused on the prolific offender and the recidivism of those offenders. Actually dealing with them from a recidivist point of view and working with our partnerships in the community.
You were talking about giving help to some of these offenders. What are some of the things that you prescribe to some of these offenders who are repeat offenders of stealing cars? You're saying giving them help?
Get them help for addictions? Is that what you're referring to?
No, was what you were saying, like basically helping these people so they don't reoffend. Like what were you kind of alluding to there?
Helping them so they don't reoffend. So essentially, I'm not exactly sure of your question, but
you said that all these people like commit the same crime over and over again. How do we curb this?
How do we curb them from committing the same crime over and over again? Ultimately, what we're looking at with respect to that is ensuring that they get, if they have a drug addiction related problem, ensure they get treatment for that drug addiction issue. If they're criminals and they don't have a drug addiction issue and they're going to continue to commit crimes in our community, they need to be in jail. Ultimately, that's what it comes down to. We need to have a safe community for everybody.
Anything else? No. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.